Hey guys, today I wanted to bring up a topic that a lot of you have probably heard of before, and that, especially if you're in the military, and I'm sure a lot of other people use it too, but that is the concept of the 80-20 rule, and it's used in a lot of different connotations. Sometimes it's used as like 20% of the people cause 80% of the problems, but the way I want you to think about it for this video is that more in relation to tools. Like if you have a set of tools, 80% of the time you'll be using 20% of the tools. And because if you go into somewhere like Lowe's or Home Depot or anything like that, there's just almost an infinite number of different tools you can use, and you can come up with a scenario for why you would want to need or want to have almost any of them. Like, oh, I need this angle grinder or this router and this like a joint clamp or whatever, all these specialized tools or Torx bits or something like that, or like a 3-inch hole saw or whatever. But the point is that if you're going somewhere to do a job, you don't know what it is yet, there's an 80% chance or more that it's just going to be the normal set of tools that you would use for anything. Screwdrivers, duct tape, WD-40, just a basic set of tools, nothing crazy. It's very rare that it would be one of those rare tools, and that's why they're rare. And that concept applies to preparedness too. And too many people just brainstorm, and they're good at this, and it's not a bad habit to have, but this kind of goes back to the what-ifers I was talking about before, where they think of all these different scenarios and are almost paralyzed by like, oh, I don't have this, what if this happens, I don't need this. Just remember, 80% of the time, and in my mind it's actually more than 80% of the time, but at least 80% of the time, it's just going to be that same basic core group of things that will get you out of that fix and will solve that problem. And I mean, you can prove this by looking at your day-to-day life. How many things do you use on a day-to-day basis? It's probably that same list of things. You have your basic energy needs, your basic food needs, and your basic like shelter and hygiene needs. And those are going to be the same things that you'll use day in and day out. And so if you're really wondering on how to be prepared for 80% of the problems, just take care of that core group. Don't be worried about like, oh, what if this happens, then I'll need this. Once you have that stuff squared away, you can worry about that stuff if you want, but it's really not all that helpful, because trying to plan for every contingency is impossible. So it's much better to make sure you have that core group squared away and make sure you have a lot of it, and then work on just being able to have the skills to handle situations that might be unexpected, instead of having to worry about specifically preparing for each one of them, because you can't. So if you need toilet paper and food, just make sure you have a lot of those, because you're always going to need them, and you're going to need them every time, every day, every week, and so on and so forth. So just keep that in mind, because I see a lot of people struggling when they're trying to prepare for unknowns to figure out every little thing that they may need to prepare for, and it's just not necessary most of the time. Not only is it not possible, it's just not necessary. So I think it's much better to focus on that core group, that 20%, in my mind is more like 10%, and get that squared away and make sure you have a lot of it. If you have toilet paper, that's great, but you only have like 2 weeks of toilet paper, you're going to need this stuff. You will. And so there's no reason not to stack that stuff pretty deep. So I hope that helps you guys, and I'll talk to you later.